In my previous video on the four Vedas, I had mentioned about the seven generations starting from Parampara. These are the legendary generations that mankind came through. The earliest generation, called Parampara, refers to the generation of people who lived on the mountain range. But man lived not only in the mountain but also in forests, agricultural lands, sea regions, and desert lands. The five types of lands described in ancient Tamil literature. Hence, I thought that the rest of the generations were also named sequentially after the lands that man lived successively all along his past. When I decoded the names of generations based on this notion, I was spellbound. Yes, these generation names keep track of the history of mankind, aka Tamils. Before going into this topic further, I would explain the Yuga concept first. Yugam is a long period of time. Yuga that man lived only on the mountain is called Treta Yuga. As mountain is black in color, it was originally called Kari, which means black, and Kari deformed to Kri, Krita, Kreta. Hence, Treta Yuga is the Yugam man lived on the mountain range. When population grew, and because of paucity of resources in the mountain to cater to the needs of the large population, man had to come down to live in the forest. The Yuga he lived in the forest is called Treta Yuga. Forest is on the ground. Ground is called Tarai in Tamil. Tarai is pronounced by Aryans as Tra. Hence, the period that man lived in the forest is called Treta Yuga. When the forest resources too were not sufficient to cater to the needs of the ever-increasing population, man decided to cultivate farmlands for food production. He had to destroy the forest to develop farmlands. Farmland needs water, and the land has to be fertile for agricultural use. Obviously, delta region of the rivers was the first chosen lands for agricultural works. The delta land is near the seas. As man learned to make plough and bullock cart for farming activity, he also learned to make boats and ships. As delta land is near sea, the people who were involved in agricultural works were also engaged in fishing activity in the seas. As the sea was vast in size, and so did the farmland, the Yuga that man ruled both farmlands and sea lands simultaneously was called Dwapara Yuga. Dwa means two, para in Tamil means vast. Dwapara Yuga is the Yuga that man ruled both agricultural land and sea land. The Pandyas were the first people who ruled Dwapara Yuga. The proof is coming from the goddess Meenakshi. Pachayamma is the green goddess of agriculture. Pachayamma is the third goddess of Asivagam. But the people who worshipped Pachayamma were also fishermen, as they were both farmers and fishermen. Hence, Pachayamma was called Meenakshi after fish, and she was painted green to stand for Pachayamma. Meen means fish in Tamil, and Achi means rule. That is how Meenakshi worship evolved, and she was tied to Pandya dynasty. Meenakshi stands as a proof for the existence of Dwapara Yuga. The Yuga concept was proposed and prophesied by Krishna, who lived in the Dwapara Yuga. As per the prophecy by Krishna, after the Dwapara Yuga came Kali Yuga, and as the lords of Kali Yuga, the Jewish desert people were directing the events of the world, which was destructive in kind. Now, Satya Yuga has just begun after the end of Mayan calendar. The presence of internet and broadband is a proof of the emergence of Satya Yuga, and truth is slowly emerging from darkness which was engulfing it so long. In the Satya Yuga, the Jewish lords would lose their satanic grip over the world, and the world is poised for a golden age. We shall now return to discuss the legendary seven generations. Parampara generation was the mountain generation that we already discussed in the video that discussed the four Vedas. Next is Seyon, Seyol. Sei means distance in Tamil. It also means distance in time. Seyon means ancient man. Tulgapiyam speaks about the leader of mountain Yuga. Seyon meva Maivarai Ulagam. Here, Seyon refers to Shiva. Hence, Seyon Seyol, in addition to Paramparai, refers to the people of Treta Yuga. Sei also means infant in Tamil. That's why some people think that Murugan was a mountain god, which is absurd. Murugan most probably lived in the ancient forest land, originally in the then Sri Lanka, on the hillocks of Siddha, and he was in charge of the present-day Tamil Nadu up to Tirupati in his times. With this clarification, we shall move on to consider the other generations. We have seen Parampara and Seyon Seyol generations point to the people of Treta Yuga. We would see that the next two generations, namely Otan Oti and Putan Puti, point to the people of Treta Yuga, that is, the Yuga that man lived in the forests. In the forest land, man was a herder and he lived on the milk from the cows and the meat from the goats. As a herd of animals is unrestrained, they used to run. Odu means run in Tamil. The word Otu, which means conduct the running things, originated from Odu. Hence, a herdsman was called Otan or Otuon. As the main profession of the forest people was grazing the herd, the male gender was called Otan and the female gender was called Oti. Hence, Otan and Oti stands for the generation of people of Treta Yuga. Next is Putan and Puti. After grazing the herd in the daytime, the herdsman locks up the cattle within barricades in the night times. This barricade was called Patti in Tamil. That's how the small villages were named Patti in the forest lands. The word Patti itself evolved from Vatti, which refers to a round barricade. Vatti became Patti. Dogs were used for night surveillance of the Patti and hence dogs themselves were called Patti. Patti deformed to Putti, Puti and also Putu, which means lock in Tamil. As the herdsman locks up the cattle within the barricades, he was called Putan and the female gender was called Puti. Hence, Putan and Puti also stands for the generation of people of Treta Yuga. Otan, Oti names originate from daytime activity of the herdsman. Putan, Puti names originate from the nighttime activity of the herdsman. This comparison is quite interesting. Next is Patan and Pati. After Treta Yuga, man created farming land, destroying forests. We have already seen this as Dwapara Yuga. Compared to man's life in Treta Yuga and Treta Yuga, which did not demand difficult labor from humans, man had to slog very hard in Dwapara Yuga. The hunting activity of the Treta and Treta Yuga people was actually pastime activity, and that's how it was named game in English. The Tamil words Vettayadu and Vilayadu evolved from such gaming activity. However, both agriculture and fishing required enormous labor from the people who were involved in them. The tough physical work was called Padu in Tamil. To alleviate the suffering, they might have been singing as they engaged in their physical routines. Perhaps that is the reason tough physical work was called Padu after Patu, the song.
சரி, இந்த பாட்டு பாடினதெல்லாம் போதும். இங்க வாங்க, இந்த பண்ணையும் டீம் குடிச்சு தெம்பா வேலை செய்ய வாங்க.
The point is, the tough physical work was called Padu and the male who exercised it was called Patan. The female gender was called Pati. Hence, the generation belonging to Dwapara Yuga who worked very hard was called Patan, Pati. Father of father is called Patan and mother of mother is called Pati. Next is Tandai and Thai. These names also originated from the Dwapara Yuga and the naming convention continues till today to refer to the previous generation. The proper family setup called Kudumbam that we have today with private property evolved in the Dwapara Yuga. Thai is actually our mother. Thai means a female who gives beautiful things like life and also milk to nourish life. Tha plus I, Thai. Tan plus Thai, Tandai. Tandai means father in English. Thai shall mean stitch. This way, Tandai is the one who is stitched to us as we are carrying his gene. Tandai, Thai points to the previous generation. Next is Kanavan and Manaivi. This is the name of male and female in the current generation, that is we. Manaivi means the one who makes home. Mani means home. Kanavan means he, the I. The woman sees the world through her husband's eye as he is the protector, at least as it used to be the case in ancient times. This word is used for the current generation in all generations, starting from Dwapara Yuga till now. Thus, we see that the legendary 7 generation names keep track of our history, and these names were logically created names. Every Tamil name has a logical reason, proving the statement by Tolgapiyar that Ella Chollum Pol Gurithanave.